Hello, I'm Steve Wisnett, Burke County Sheriff. If you're chosen for our detention or bailiff divisions, it's because we see something in you that we want to invest in, and we will challenge, train, and support you every day to help you realize your full potential. As a former jail administrator, I can tell you that detention is a tough division. We are looking for those officers who want to join a team who take pride in their duties, and because of that pride, we've had quite a number of perfect jail inspections. We provide you with on-the-job training, and we pay you to attend a 4-week jail certification school. We're looking for detention officers who exhibit professionalism and integrity and understand the importance of fairness and discipline and rules in ensuring the safety of our officers and the inmates. Many of our sworn deputies begin their careers on our jail team and further utilize their developed skills of communication, conflict resolution, and de-escalation tactics in one of our other 12 divisions. One of those divisions is our bailiffs, sworn basic law enforcement training graduates who provide security for our judges, district attorneys, clerks of court, and all of our citizens utilizing courthouse services. As a bailiff, you may be opening and providing security for courtrooms, transferring inmates to and from our jail to the courtroom, transporting inmates to and from county jails, and dealing with a plethora of issues in and outside the courthouse. As the Burke County Sheriff's Office, you are the director of your own career path with a multitude of divisions and options to pursue. Ask yourself this: do you actually know what you're capable of? Do you want to find out? See if you have what it takes to join our detention or bailiff divisions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Let me welcome you to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Tuesday, July the 18th, 2017. Madam Clerk, I want to do the roll call at this time. Chairman Britton is out of town to do a continuing education class. All the remainder of the commissioners here, along with the county attorney, the county manager, and the deputy county manager. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, if you have telephones or other devices with you, would you please check those and silence those for the meeting for me? And if you do have to come to the table, please use the microphones and speak as distinctly as you can. With us tonight to do our invocation is Pastor Ed Stevenson from Arnie's Fairview United Methodist Church. And also here to do our Pledge of Allegiance will be Girl Scout Troop 2396 with Casey Sullivan as the troop leader. At this time, if you'll stand and join me for Pastor Ed, if you'll come on up and do our invocation.
Gentlemen, thank you for allowing me the privilege of bringing the invocation before a public body in this day and in this time and in this place. Thank you for that. God of us all, Lord, we appear before you this evening seeking your guidance, especially your presence, Lord. Allow each one of us to honor you in all that we do. Father, we thank you for this group of people who have more or less volunteered to give themselves, their time, and their talents to tend to the polity and to the machinations of this beautiful, wonderful county. We thank you for them, Lord. We especially thank you for them. We ask now, Lord, that you visit upon them your wisdom. Wisdom, Lord, not as man sees it and understands it, but wisdom that comes only from you. We ask that you be with this body, not just on this night, but from now on. We ask all of this in the name of the one who is only able to save us, our Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, ladies, if you'll remain there, we want to come down and take a picture with you. Parents, y'all can come on out here if you'd like to get a picture. The Girl Scouts are learning early. The best thing that was said to us, do we have to stay for this whole thing? All right, gentlemen, in front of you have your regular meeting minutes from May the 16th, 2017. I think you've had time to review those, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Wayne has made a motion to approve. All in favor signify by raising your right hands. Be unanimous, Madam Clerk. You also have the agenda in front of you. There's one revised item about brownfields, and there's one new item that was added. Any questions on the agenda? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Scott. You've heard Scott's motion. All in favor signify by the uplifted right hand. Madam Clerk, that'll be 4-0. Thank you so much. We have no scheduled presentations tonight. Under scheduled public hearings, we do have community development, a zoning map amendment, ZMA 2017-06, in a public hearing being presented by Pete Minner from Planning and Zoning. Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Board. Pleasure to be before you this evening. I'd like to present zoning map amendment 2017-06. This evening, the applicant is Jesse Jones, and he has a request to rezone one parcel of land that totals 1.23 acres from R1 residential to the general business zoning district. This parcel, Board, is one of several hundred that in 2009 were relinquished by the town of Drexel back to the county. And at that time, there wasn't a study done to observe what the current uses were on those several hundred parcels of land. The planning department just basically assimilated those parcels in their current zoning into the county zoning. And so those parcels were zoned R20 through the town of Drexel. And when the county took that over, we just simulated those into county zoning as residential 1 zoning district. Well, this particular property here has 2 commercial buildings on it, and that had been used over the years for auto repairs and different types of other commercial uses. At some point in time, the property owner closed down those businesses, and it's been over 12 months actually since there's been business use to this property and those buildings. So by Burke County zoning ordinance, if a property ceases operation for 12 months or more and it's a non-conforming use, then the use would revert to the allowed uses within that zoning district. Well, because the property is zoned R1, the zoning would not allow a commercial use of this property or those buildings anymore. So that's the reason behind Mr. Jones' application to rezone. His parcel is not alone in being a non-conforming state. Just right next door to him is an automobile car sales lot. So this property is not unique. Due to the circumstances of the mass rezoning at that time, county just didn't pick up on this particular property and the uses that were on there at the time. So this rezoning, if you can see the photographs, they show different parts of the building. As you can see, this is in no way, shape, or form a residential type use of property or structure, nor could it be. Staff feels confident that the rezoning to the general business zoning district is appropriate in this circumstance, and the county's land use plan also backs that up. So at this time, I'd like to ask the county to rezone this property from the R1 zoning district to the general business as requested, and county staff would be glad to answer any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I
sir.
also neglected to mention that the planning board did meet on this subject on June 22nd of this year and did unanimously vote 7-0 to approve the rezoning. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just
No
thought
problem,
I'd better
sir.
add that.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the summary of the rezoning request. Do y'all have any questions for Pete? Hearing no questions, I'm now going to open a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the rezoning request, ZMA 2017-06? Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing and see what the pleasure of the board is on this matter.
Mr. Chairman, it appears that it's past due, that it is on one of the main thoroughfares through the county. So, I would say without a doubt we should approve this one. I'm trying to get to my computer.
Okay.
Consistency statement, you need that first, Madam Clerk?
Do the adopt the ordinance first and then the consistency statement.
Okay, I move to adopt an ordinance number 2017-15, amended the Burke County zoning map and adopt the corresponding consistency statement, and that being the proposed zoning map amendment can be considered consistent with the Burke County 2016-2030 land use plan and the Burke County zoning ordinance, and is reasonable and in the public interest because the 2016-2030 strategic land use plan identifies this area as a primary growth area and recommends commercial development along corridors such as I-40 and use of 70 as if access to utilities, infrastructure, and transportation are present. The county's assimilation of the Drexel ETJ did not involve examination of individual parcels and their land uses. Therefore, the Drexel ETJ's rezoning created some non-conforming land uses. There is an existing commercial use, which is auto sales lot, adjacent to the subject parcel. The planning board unanimously approved rezoning application ZMA 2017-06.
Thank you, Maynard. All right, everyone's heard Maynard's motion. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. All right, Madam Clerk, that'll be unanimous 4-0. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to item number 8, informal public comments. Kay, has anyone signed up?
I do not have any cards, Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item number 9 is our consent agenda. At this time, we will recognize our county manager, Mr. Brian Steen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, you have 13 items on your consent agenda. The first is BOC designation of voting delegate for the NCACC annual conference. Number 2, clerk reappointment, removal to WPCOG Regional Aging Advisory Committee. Item 3, clerk appointment to the DSS board. Item 4, Clerk, East Burke Senior Center reappointments. Item 5, Community Development, acceptance of amended trail easement agreement from South Point Owners Association Incorporated. Item 6, County Manager MOU with the Rotary Club of Burke Sunrise for the World War II Memorial. Item 7, Finance, amendment to Capital Project Ordinance. Item 8, Fire Marshal Statewide Emergency Management Mutual Aid Assistance Agreement. Item 9, Health Department Child Protection Child Fatalities Teams Physical 2016-17 Report. Item 10, Library, CBH, and VPL staff changes. Item 11, Tax Department Tax Collection Report for June 2017. Item 12, Tax Department EMS Collections Report for May 2017. And item 13, Tax Department Release Refund Report for June 2017. That concludes your consent agenda, gentlemen.
Thank you, Brian. Gentlemen, you've heard the 13 items on the consent agenda. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion by Wayne to accept all 13 items. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Madam Clerk, that will be unanimous 4-0. Moving on to item number 10 is our items for decision. The first item this evening is a RFQ, a request for engineering services for our Highway 18 South CDBG project. This time we'll recognize Miles Champion. Miles?
Good evening, Board. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Your program guides for the CDBG project for your Highway 18 South water line requires RFQs for engineering services. The review committee consisted of myself, Miles Champion, Finance Director Paul Imes, and Chairman Jeff Britton. We received 6 proposals. Municipal Engineering Company, West Consultants, Clayton Engineering and Design, LKC Engineering, Centera, Mattern and Cragg, and they were all analyzed according to a scoring system and 4 criteria. Based on the evaluation of the points scored, the committee recommended that the county enter into negotiations for engineering services with West Consultants.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard Miles' summary of the request for qualifications. Questions for Miles? Hearing no questions, we will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the committee's recommendation and authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute the contract with West Consultant, PLLC. Further, if an agreement cannot be reached with West Consultants, PLLC, the manager is authorized to negotiate and execute a contract with the second and/or third ranked firms.
Thank you, Maynard. You've heard Maynard's motion. All in favor signify by raising of the right hand. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous, 4-0. Thank you, Miles.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, and we can get this project on the road. Thank you. All right, moving to our next item. Will be presented a resolution calling for a referendum on alcohol sales in unincorporated areas of Burke County. With us this evening is Ed Phillips from TDA. Ed?
Good evening. Jerry Davis from the Chamber sends his regrets he could not be with us tonight. And also the chair of the Burke County Tourism Development Authority, Polly Ledbetter, could not be here and asked me to represent them both. I think you all have a copy of the resolution that was passed back in April by the Tourism Development Authority. I won't go through and read it unless you ask me, but essentially we're asking for the governing board, the gentleman here with the commissioners, to authorize a referendum on the November ballot 2017 to let the voters in Burke County, the unincorporated areas, cast their vote for on-premise, off-premise alcohol sales. We believe it's time for Burke County to allow the voters to select and choose if they would like to have this. There are already 5 municipalities in Burke County that allow that. Burke County is growing and expanding outside of the municipal lines, outside of the cities and incorporated areas. And we think this is an opportunity for more economic development in Burke County. And so we ask that you consider this tonight.
All right, you've heard Ed's presentation. Questions for Ed?
Mr. Chairman, I was a little mixed on this, but when I look at, as a business person, and I look at the municipalities that have it, it's really not fair as a business thing to not allow the people in the county that have convenience stores and different businesses not to have this. So even though I wrestled with this a little bit, I really believe as a business person that it's not really fair to the people in the county, and since we already have it in all the municipalities, that it's only fair that we allow this to pass.
Thank you, Wayne. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'm just for the benefit of the taping and the audience, I'm going to repeat mostly what we did in pre-agenda and add one comment to it. I think the devil's winning big in America and in Burke County, but when we went to the mental health program, and the mental health told us that now 1 out of 4 had mental issues, and 90% of that 1 out of 4 had mental issues due to alcohol and drug abuse. And in my mind, we are here enhancing and enabling that. I think if we looked at, and I didn't get permission from Valdez to say this, but I understand Valdez voted in alcohol in their city. It is yet to be a profit margin. I understand they don't make enough money but to pay the interest on the note, and the citizens of Valdez end up paying the principal. I also understand that Glen Alpine voted in liquor by the drink, and they found out the cost to run it and have yet to install or put it to use. I think if you study the health records and any angle you want to look at, America is in a big problem. America and Burke County, both. We have people who are dying before their time. They're committing suicide. And from the economic standpoint, it won't weigh, because one mental health patient in a year, just one, will take up more than any profit in taxes that this county will receive. And then on top of that, all of us share the cost. Every time your insurance premium goes up, it's because there's not enough money to pay for the health care that people are asking for. And the comment I want to add that I did not say during pre-agenda is, I'm sure if Jesus was sitting on your shoulder and whispering in your ear today, he would not vote for this. And I think as good leaders, and we got good people on this board, but I don't think it's the right move. I just feel like we're helping people to end their life before their time. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one comment, and I respect what Maynard's saying, but on a personal note, I agree with Wayne. I think everybody should have the opportunity to be to compete for business equally throughout the county. But actually, this is not a personal vote at this point. This is just a resolution to allow votes for folks across the county to vote for themselves. So all we're doing here today is a resolution calling for that referendum to be put on there. So, what I think personally, I'll decide in the ballot box, but this is just allow everybody else in the ballot box make their own personal decision.
Thank y'all. Any other comments? If not, the chairman will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 2017-17.
All right, you've heard Scott's motion. All in favor signify by raising the right hand. All opposed? Madam Clerk, that will be 3-1. Thank you, Ed. Moving on to our next item for decision. This will be with Madam Clerk, appointments to the Animal Advisory Board. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board. Appointments are needed to seat the Animal Advisory Board. Applications were solicited in a variety of methods, including an ad in the News Herald, posting on the county's website, direct mail, word of mouth. We have a good number of applications for every seat, but seat number 7, which is the non-pet owner. As you'll recall, the Animal Ordinance, Section 6-7, created the Animal Advisory Board. Seat number 1 is for a member of a 501c3 animal rescue agency or foster agency. Seat number 2 is a veterinarian practicing or retired. Seat number 3 is a Board of Health member or designee, excluding the health director. Seat number 4 is an at-large pet owner. Seat number 5 is a law enforcement officer, excluding animal control officers. Seat number 6 is a member of a 501c3 animal rescue agency or foster agency. And seat number 7 is the at-large non-pet owner. All the applications have been vetted and verified for their eligibility.
Good. Thank you, Kay. Any questions for Kay before we begin the nominations? All right, we'll move by seat number. Seat number 1, the applicants are Mackenzie Ann McClure, Alice Kopacki, Lori Rice, and Tony Adams. Do I have a nomination on either of these?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Alice Kopecki for that seat.
Alice? All right, any other nominations?
And I noticed some of those names are on other ones, but I think Alice would probably do the best serving on this seat rather than as an animal owner.
Okay. All right, any other nominations on seat 1? All right, I'll close the nominations. All in favor of Alice, raise your right hand. That'd be 4-0, Madam Clerk, on seat number 1. Seat number 2, to appoint either Dr. Clarence Dunning or Dr. Melissa Zebley to the Animal Advisory Board as the veterinarian. I'm going to open the floor for nominations between these two.
Mr. Chairman, I move to appoint Dr. Clarence Dunning to the Animal Advisory Board, seat number 2, for a 2-year term ending July 30th, 2019.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations. All in favor of Dr. Clarence Dunning signify by raising the right hand. That will be 4-0, Madam Clerk. Moving on to seat number 3. Seat number 3 is the Board of Health, and that will be, Ms. Amy Burnett as the appointee. Will somebody nominate her to be appointed?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, you heard Wayne's motion. All in favor? Right hands. That'd be 4-0. Okay, moving on to seat number 5 is number 4 is the at-large pet owner. And the nominees for that or the applicants are Francis Howell, Alice Kopacki, Donald Probst, or Becky Steele. And take nominations.
Mr. Chairman, I move to appoint Donald Probst to the Animal Advisory Board, seat number 4, for a 2-year term ending July 30th, 2019.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close the nominations. All in favor of Donald Probst signify by raising the right hand. Madam Clerk, that will be 4-0. Moving on to the next seat, seat number 5 is Captain Jeff Robinson to be appointed from the Sheriff's Department. I need a motion to appoint Jeff.
Chairman, since we only have one, we should do that by acclamation and appoint Jeff Robinson.
Okay, Jeff Robinson is appointed by acclamation. Moving on to seat number 6 is a member of a 501c3 animal rescue agency. The applicants are Mackenzie Ann McClure, Alice Kopacki, Lori Rice, or Tony Adams.
I move to nominate Lori Rice.
Lori Rice. Any other nominations? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. All in favor of Lori Rice signify by raising the right hands. That will be 4-0. Madam Clerk, I think that solidifies that. Do you want a motion for all, or those be good? Okay, and seat number 7, when you get somebody?
I'll bring it back.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, moving on to our next item is our Brownfields grant contract with Cardno Incorporated, presented by Brian Steen, our County Manager. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the board, you may remember back in October, the board approved moving forward with Cardinal to do the grant application work. And within the RFQ for that, it was indicated that if they were successful in getting the grant, that they would be allowed to do the work. And what I'm trying to do is just go back and clear this up just a little bit and to make that very clear that we are actually approving the county manager to execute related contracts with brownfield services with Cardinal. From the EPA grant, the maximum amount of money that's available is $300,000. So if there's no questions, if you could help us out with that, we'd appreciate it.
All right, questions from Brian?
Mr. Chairman, just a comment that I told Brian earlier today that that seemed to be a lot of money for just research, but it's research that somebody else won't have to pay for, and it might help economic development. If we get a piece of property that's cleared and found that it's suitable for whatever, then we've helped economic development on that end. And so I think we ought to approve that.
All right, any other questions from Brian? Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, I move to approve a contract with Cardinal Inc. for services related to the Brownfields EPA grant in the amount of $300,000 and authorize the county manager to execute it on behalf of the board.
All right, you've heard Scott's motion. All in favor signify by raising your right hand of approval. That'd be 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right, I think that moves us into our reports and comment section. Starting from the right-hand side, Wayne.
Just a comment on the airport. We've got more plane owners. It must be the economy changing, but there's a tremendous demand for more hangar space. I guess it all relates to the economy. I've never seen it like it is right now, but we're actually chasing people to other airports.
Fantastic.
Mr. Chairman, I will report that the mental health, not the mental health, excuse me, the Clean Air and Water event is coming up first of next month, in August, and Kay sent all of you, it's in here. Just want to remind you, and also I think, and I didn't get that clarified either, but I think Scott, one of our managers, will be participating in that. So I encourage all the department heads that would benefit from that to make sure they attend that. The mental health did not, as usual, have a meeting in July, so the one I reported to you earlier is the last meeting that we had. And just a point of I guess you call appreciation and thank you opportunity for me. I get to go on Friday and watch the U.S. Ford. And I understand the president's going to be there. And I got that privilege because my grandson is in the Navy and is serving on that ship. So we'll be making that trip on Friday.
Fantastic. Great. Scott?
I have nothing at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. County Attorney?
Nothing at this time.
Madam Clerk?
Are you going to talk about the new date for the senior center?
Go ahead.
Okay. The new date for the senior center grand opening is August 31st. Still, we're looking at the 9:30 time frame. Just wanted to make sure that was good with everybody's schedule.
Any objection to that, gentlemen? Okay. All right, Mr. County Manager?
That was it. They'd run into a delay with the electric service, which meant they couldn't operate the air conditioning systems to condition the building, which means you can't start putting down epoxies on the floor and doing other odds and ends. They said that they could rush it up and try and do some things, and I said, no, you just take your time, do it right. It gives us time to transition from our existing facilities out in Hildebrand and it not being a crazy mad rush. And I do want to share with the board, Mr. Vice Chairman, that Congressman Meadows has indicated an interest in being able to attend that function. and we are keeping in contact with his staff to see if that is going to be a possibility. So that, and I believe the chairman of the school board is interested in coming, as well as other officials from Hildebrand and surrounding areas. And I understand there may be a cat in the hat there, as well as Gruff the crime dog and a few other things. And I've talked to the sheriff's department about possible programs that they may want to start doing for seniors at all of our centers, having to do with crime and people trying to trick them out of things, and then other things for children as well. So I think the facility has all kinds of wonderful opportunities. We've talked with Larry Putnam at the school system about the possibility of high school students becoming involved with the senior centers if they have an interest in working with seniors or maybe pursuing a CNA degree. That would give them some practical experience, as well as library sciences. So again, it's not only a facility for our citizens to go to utilize in that manner that you normally associate, but it's also an opportunity for our high school students to have a practical experience that they can include on an application to college or Western Piedmont Community College.
Thank you, Brian. I attended our JCPC meeting. Everything is on the norm there. Health Department, there is no issues at the time, except I want to remind everybody about the opioid crisis that we're having all across North Carolina. I think we're going to try to, Rebecca, you're probably not aware of this yet, but Brian and I are going to get with you, with Lisa, to work out with the County Commissioners Association, the opioid in a box presentation. We want to get together and do that in September, I think, is what we plan on doing, that one. So if you'll keep that available for us. As far as the library, a lot of good things are happening at the library. They replaced HVAC units in Morganton Public Library. 4 public restrooms were fixed in the Morganton Public Library. They did the new roof at the Valdez Library, and they replaced and repaired some rotten wood in the front facade at Valdez Public Library. Also, the library's received $36,000 from the Library Foundation to go towards our new building in Hildebrand to buy a covered porch and frame historic photos of Hildebrand. And I think the mayor and some of the folks are going to help us get that collection. Mayor, you didn't know that yet, but I think you're going to help us get that collection together. And thank you for being here tonight. I didn't recognize the mayor of Hildebrand being with us, and also Alan Wood from BDI. Also, I'll be leaving immediately after this meeting, going to Raleigh for our State Water Infrastructure Authority meeting in Raleigh tomorrow. I am proud to say that we are on the list, and there was applications for $333 million worth of repairs that are needed across the state, and we will probably be able to fund $170 million from the first round for this year. And Burke County is in the running for the Eckerd Creek. Thank goodness we might be able to get Eckerd Creek fixed with if the votes go the way I think they will. Also, there's 2 projects for Valdez, one for their wastewater treatment plant and one to replace every meter in Valdez with a new system where the meter will register right in the office at Valdez, and you won't have to go out and read a meter. So that's on the list too. Plus, our good friends in Caldwell have a couple projects. So we'll have that meeting in the morning at 9 o'clock, and I'm very proud of the fact that we'll probably get some more money back here in Burke County to help us out. All right, with that, we'll go to the vacancy announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board. We have the following opportunities for citizens to get involved. The Hickory Regional Planning Commission, the Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committees, the Council on Aging, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, City of Morganton Board of Adjustment for the ETJ, City of Morganton Planning Board for the ETJ, the Voluntary Agriculture Board, Burke County Board of Adjustment and Planning Board, Burke County Parks and Recreation Commission, the Western Piedmont Regional Transit Authority Transportation Advisory Board, Partners Behavioral Health Management, and the Animal Advisory Board.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And for those of y'all that are watching by YouTube or whatever means, as Maynard always says, our volunteerism is down, but there's a lot of opportunities for you to take part in these programs that we have here in the county, and I would appreciate if you'd do that. We have no need for a closed session tonight, so I will entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
One PS, if I may.
Yes, sir.
For the benefit of everybody, that a little birdie told me that Commissioner Carswell got a year wiser. He turned 1 year older one day last week. I don't remember the day. But anyhow, I would like to say happy birthday at least.
Thank you so very much. That was July the 11th, and I turned age 70. The big 70. So thank you so much for that, Maynard. Anything else? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.
Hello, I'm Brian Steen, the Burke County Manager, and I'd like to introduce you to Zeke, Ty, and Chloe. They're my 3 pets, and I adopted them all from rescue agencies. I hope if you're thinking about getting a dog or a cat, you'll consider contacting our local rescue agencies and adopt one. If you have a cat or a dog, I hope you'll also consider having them spay or neutered to help us reduce the number of unwanted pets in Burke County. Whatever you can do to help us would be appreciated. And in a moment, we'll show you some contact information for both the rescue agencies in Burke County and agencies that can help you with low-cost spay and neuter. Thank you again. I hope you have a great day. Wolf.